And just like getting into the Toasty level, finishing levels in Nasty's World is actually mandatory to open up the next dragon head. You can't just exit the level, and it's obvious why they put that in, otherwise no one would bother doing the levels to get to Nasty Gnorc. Twighlight Harbor. Get all the gems sat outside it while we're at it. The hardest level of the game, without a shadow of a doubt. The only section harder than this is that one section in Misty Bog. But the enemies in this level are very ridiculous. That's the point, I didn't go through the enemies of Gnorc Cove, that's bad of me. I've done it every other time. Gnorc Cove enemies, as we remember. We had the Harbour Masters, and we had their little wrench-wielding friends. There, that's them done. Now we move on to the heavy artillery, Gnorcs that wield guns. Almost identical to the Gnorcs from the Artisan's World, except more aggressive, and not too dissimilar from the Grenadiers in terms of having helmets. They are deadly enemies, in that their guns, that they shoot ammo, and this ammo seems to have a very high vertical hitbox, in that I could be jumping above said hitbox and it'll still hit me. Whoops. Ow. Just about survived. You really don't want to be walking around in this level Sparks, to be honest. The hitboxes, as I said, are too ridiculous. Not to mention we cannot defeat this enemy due to needing flame. Oh, I forgot that he has a machete to attack me close range. I thought that that guy was just a long-ranged enemy. So we're going to have to do our best to just fly around him in his Rambo shorts. We also have some nicely hidden treasure here, hidden to the left. That's a point. This is the last level where Supercharge is a thing. So I'm not sure actually to the extent of how good Supercharge is on this level. I'm not sure if that Grenadier, for example, is gettable, to be quite honest. It will all be part of the experiment and the challenge, I guess. And how I can't wait to put the challenge of Supercharge behind me. Yeah. On treetops and on Lofty Castle, it's just made me hate Supercharge more than I love it now. Definitely need some sparks. Luckily, the enemies reload before they attack. Cosmo again.
Thank you for releasing me.
Nice to see you again, Cosmo. You got further than some of the other dragons at least, so there is that in your life. Some enemies that are definitely gettable that are right here. Oh gosh. Oh dear. Luckily I just got you, Cosmo. You're always here for me. Unfortunately that's about the best we can do, apart from avoid the enemies. There's a hell of a lot of big enemies on this one. Unfortunately that Grenadier will only toss that one. And this is where Supercharge will come into play, this bridge. It's not just there for decoration. Before we get it, let's go and speak to Cletus.
Be on the lookout for Gnorc Commandos, Spyro.
They better be on the lookout for me.
Everybody loves Kung Fu Cletus, eh? With that ready chop there he had. Okay, let's see what we can accomplish with the Supercharge on Twighlight Harbor. Hopefully it will be a lot. Oh crap. What have we learned from this? Well, what we have learned is that this drawbridge I thought was able to be operated by charging, but apparently not. So that's just put a great chunk of gems that are found kind of up there in that hole out of reach because that ramp is needed for it. Oh yeah, there's a grenadier to the right there, must remember that. I wonder if that step is reachable. That'll be something to try out. So we've got a grenadier to the left. Is he upstairs though? 2 flights. He may be unobtainable due to the way supercharged jumps tend to actually be quite low in height, unless there's some kind of clip I can get. Okay, we got him relatively painless. Our supercharger even kept going, which was kind of cool. I was amazed I got that kind of height actually. I don't know whether sticking to the wall actually helped keep the height there. Hey, we got that guy. Now these are far too steep for supercharged to reach, so there's no chance of getting the grenadier that's all the way back at that part of the level, unfortunately. So we're going to have to just live with ourselves not being able to get him. And as far as I'm aware, there's nowhere I'll be able to get enough height to get the substitute for this ramp here. Going forward, what have we got to deal with? Got a big Gnorc and a little Gnorc. So we know we can use the supercharge at least on the big Gnorc. I'm hoping this won't take me over the edge though and kill me. Well, we got him at least. A chest there. And chests here. I wonder. I feel like I didn't get those chests in my other run actually. I have to remember that. That jump may be doable. Let's try and clear out some of the carnage first. I'm definitely looking forward to actually coming back now to this level to check if there's stuff there I missed. So I have a feeling I've missed that stuff. Shoot, 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 shoot. Let's see now what we can accomplish getting these last enemies. If we can accomplish it. This step looks slightly higher than the other step that we've already tried to go in. But we can try, that's the key word. Okay, well, conveniently, we can get that final enemy, which I'll try and get now. Not this enemy is obvious, but there is another Rambo guy. Where is that? Or did we get the other Rambo guy? Okay, maybe we did. But yeah, it appears that there is a scripted effect from looking that stops us from being able to bring supercharge in here. Oh, the fodder is respawning. That's nice. And just to demonstrate this, I'll well, you'll have seen it in some previous attempts, maybe. I don't know if it's doable from this side. Fortunately, as seems likely, we don't appear to be able to use supercharge inside that building to get those last 2 enemies due to a script seemingly stopping us from doing so, which is a shame, because they would definitely be gettable. I managed to get up a step to get them. Going to replenish our sparks now, get some of the treasure outside of Twighlight Harbor. Twighlight Harbor is probably the most difficult level in Gnorc Nexus, if not the entire game. So we want to be fully equipped for going in there. It's got some ridiculously difficult enemies that actually have auto-aim and ridiculous vertical hitboxes. But this actual level should be relatively easy to complete in terms of what we know we can and cannot get in this challenge.
That is because there is only one hidden sort of section of this level, and that section I'm pretty confident will require supercharge, which we cannot do. Therefore, the only gems that we can get will be from flaming the enemies and, you know, breaking open what chests we can. The enemies in this game are difficult in that they're quite varied, and there's quite a large number of them in small spaces. We have a grenadier style Gnorc, a grunt that just has a pretty shitty gun, and like the bigger Rambo looking dudes, who are actually a pain in the arse, especially when speedrunning. So this is the grunt. I just proxied off his helmet, which was not wise. But the good news is there are no enemies here that we cannot defeat. All of them are flammable. All of them are flammable, however you want to say it. There's not too many metal chests that I can recall either, so a lot of the gems from containers should be okay. No dragons inaccessible. That's like the Rambo dude with the red beret fighting for the communist Gnorc community. Again, just like Gnorc Cove, this is a pretty interesting style of level. Like the actual theme of the world is a junkyard theme, because that's where Nasty Gnorc was banished to. But it just really strikes me as an odd choice to have your big boss in this kind of environment. Keep our sparks nice and fresh, touch the dragon pad so we've got a checkpoint. Up there you may just see a twinkle or two that we cannot reach, which is sad. That's the only real secret part of the level, as I mentioned, and we're not going to be able to achieve anything up there as far as I can see. Again, in my rerun of this game, I will try my best to get anything and figure out any way to get anything I can. But just for the sake of getting to Gnasty Gnorc, because we're so close, I'm just going to complete this level standardly, get as much as I can realistically get, and then move on. Now those two chests, I've actually just thought maybe the Grenadier's grenade could explode them. Maybe not, we might try that as well a bit later. This is a drawbridge. This is what you need to supercharge over to get to that hidden part of the level. But as you can see, the supercharge ramp will not be usable. There's a lot of lives scattered around Twighlight Harbor. It really expects you to bottleneck on this level and really struggle. But only when I'm speedrunning do I find this level actually genuinely difficult, because there's that much fodder around, there's that much lives scattered around that, you know, at worst you're going to die once in a casual run. And that's if you're just being a bit, you know, a bit, shall we say, a bit unresponsive. So yeah, his grenade seems to explode, so I'm going to kill myself here, and I'm going to go to that section with the two chests again before I get the next dragon. If I get that dragon, like, the enemy would not respawn. So I'm going to go back to the left over here and see if this Grenadier's grenade will actually cause damage to chests. We've seen that some projectiles do. It appears that his grenade doesn't auto track to where I'm standing. It seems to get to a certain angle and not be able to go any further. He did not even throw the grenade at me. He was throwing them at this weird angle, so I think it's safe to assume then that that's not actually a projectile that we can utilise, which is a bit sad actually. So those kinds of little clever ways that we've got in the past that I've really enjoyed figuring out. We're on 16 lives, so we nearly got 17 with all the extra pearls that are being dropped, so we're in no fear of any deaths in this stage. I'm going to see if his gun... Okay, his gun bullets, as we can see, are going right over the chest, so that's another projectile that we sadly cannot utilise. It's unusual then that, like, the arrows from Lofty Castle and Dark Passage we are able to utilise to break the chests, but actual bullets, which are arguably stronger, they cannot do any damage. Oh gosh. I talked about unlikely ways to die. That's where the auto aim of the guns can be really lethal. I must apologise, at the time of recording this I have a little bit of a cold. It has been a year since I touched this challenge because of moving to Vietnam. So I'm a bit out of the loop and I've had to reinvigorate myself in this series. So I apologise for the long wait in between episodes if you have been following this challenge. Just going to take it nice and slow here, I don't want to have to redo this section again. Alright, we got this. No sparks, so we had to be a bit careful there. A few chests to the left that we cannot touch, and yeah, this has been Twighlight Harbor really. There's not really anything else to do about it. I hope you guys don't harbour any ill will against me for taking so long with this challenge, but hey ho. Alright, that's Twighlight Harbor. Moving on to the big, the bad, Gnostic Gnorc.